The message that shattered everything. She found the messages on a Tuesday. Not because she was snooping. Sophia Carter had never been that kind of wife. She trusted Marcus completely. 7 years of marriage, 2 beautiful children. A house in the suburbs with the white picket fence everyone dreamed about. Their life was a postcard of perfection. The kind other couples envied at neighborhood barbecues and school functions. Until it wasn't. The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while Marcus was in the shower. Sophia was making his favorite breakfast, blueberry pancakes with real maple syrup, crispy bacon cooked exactly how he liked it, fresh orange juice squeezed by hand. She'd taken the day off from her nursing shift to surprise him. It was their anniversary week, after all. 7 years. The number was supposed to be lucky. The screen lit up with a notification. Last night was incredible. I'm still thinking about your hands on me. The way you made me scream your name. When can I see you again? I need you inside me. Sophia's hands froze mid-flip. The pancake burned, smoke curling up from the griddle. The acrid smell filled the kitchen, but she couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't process the words glowing on that screen like a nuclear bomb in her peaceful morning. Her fingers trembled as she picked up the phone. She knew his passcode, their wedding date, August 15, 2016. He'd never hidden anything from her. They had that kind of marriage, the transparent kind, the trusting kind. Or so she thought. The messages loaded. Hundreds of them. Thousands, maybe. Photos that made her stomach turn. Naked bodies intertwined. Faces contorted in pleasure that Sophia hadn't seen on her husband in months. Videos she couldn't bring herself to watch beyond the first few seconds. Explicit confessions that read like bad pornography, except they were real. They were her husband. Her Marcus. The woman's name was Vanessa. Young, beautiful, with perfect breasts and a smile that promised sin and delivered it with enthusiasm. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the timestamps. Messages sent at 2:47 a.m. while Sophia was working the night shift at County General, saving a teenager's life after a drunk driving accident. Her hands covered in blood while her husband's hands were on another woman. Messages sent at 4:23 p.m. during their son's 7th birthday party. Marcus had disappeared for 20 minutes, claiming an urgent work call. Sophia had covered for him, made excuses, cut the cake alone while he was somewhere with his pants around his ankles. Messages sent last Tuesday when he told her he was at a business conference in Chicago, learning about new marketing strategies, missing their daughter's dance recital. He'd sent Sophia a photo of the hotel conference room, looking tired and professional. He'd never gone to Chicago. The phone showed he'd been at the Riverside Hotel downtown, 20 minutes from their house, close enough to hear their daughter crying because Daddy wasn't there to see her perform. The anatomy of a lie. Sophia scrolled through the messages with the clinical detachment she'd learned in nursing school. Assess the damage. Understand the extent of the injury. Plan the intervention. The affair had been going on for 8 months. 8 months of lies piled on lies, so intricate and detailed that Sophia marveled at the energy it must have taken. Every late night at the office was documented here with photographic evidence. Every guy's weekend was actually a romantic getaway to wine country, to mountain resorts, to the very same beach where Marcus had proposed to Sophia 9 years ago. He'd taken Vanessa to their place. Their special place where he'd gotten down on one knee and promised forever. Forever was a joke with an 8-month punchline. Sophia found a message from 3 weeks ago. I told my parents about you. They can't wait to meet the man I'm going to marry. Marcus's response, soon, baby. I just need to figure out the divorce logistics. My lawyer says I should have a strategy before I tell her. You know how wives can be vindictive when they're being replaced. Replaced, like she was a broken appliance. A worn-out car being traded in for a newer model. The phone slipped from Sophia's fingers and clattered on the granite countertop. That sound, that small, insignificant sound, broke something fundamental inside her. Not her heart, though that was broken too. Something deeper. The foundation of who she believed herself to be. She'd been the good wife, the devoted mother, the tireless healthcare worker who sacrificed her own dreams so Marcus could build his career, so their children could have a stable home, so their family could thrive. And he'd been planning her replacement like she was a business transaction. The confrontation. Marcus emerged from the bathroom, towel wrapped around his waist, water droplets sliding down his chest. He'd always been handsome. Dark hair starting to gray at the temples in that distinguished way, strong jaw, green eyes that crinkled when he smiled. He worked out 5 times a week at that expensive gym, claiming it was good for stress relief. Now Sophia knew what kind of stress he'd been relieving. That smile had promised her forever at age 22. That smile had been at their wedding, at the hospital when their children were born, in 1,000 photos documenting a life that had apparently been a performance. Forever was a lie with perfect teeth. Smells like something's burning, he said casually, walking toward her with that easy confidence of a man who believed he was untouchable. Sophia turned slowly, holding up his phone. Who's Vanessa? The color drained from his face like someone had pulled a plug. His eyes went wide, then narrow, calculating the damage, assessing his options. For exactly 3 seconds, he stood frozen, running through potential strategies in that marketing brain of his. Then came the excuses. Fast, desperate, pathetic. It's not what it looks like. Don't. Her voice cracked like a whip, sharp and violent in the domestic quiet of their kitchen. Don't you dare insult me with lies. Not after I read 8 months of your sexual fantasies spelled out in graphic detail. Not after I saw photos of you in our bed with her while I was at work saving lives. Marcus ran a hand through his wet hair, droplets falling on the hardwood floor. Soft, please. Let me explain. Explain. She laughed, a hollow sound that scared her because it came from somewhere dark and unfamiliar. You've been cheating on me for 8 months. 8 months, Marcus, while I was working double shifts to help pay for this house. While I was taking care of our kids because you were working late. While I was... Her voice broke. While I was loving you with everything I had. He took a step forward, hands raised in placation, like she was a wild animal that needed calming. She took 2 steps back, putting the kitchen island between them like a barrier, like protection from the stranger wearing her husband's face. It meant nothing, he said desperately, the words tumbling out in a rush. She means nothing. You're my wife. You're the mother of my children. I was your wife. Sophia threw the phone at his chest. It bounced off his bare skin and clattered to the floor, screen cracking in a spider web pattern that felt symbolic. Now I'm just the idiot who believed every word that came out of your lying mouth. Now I'm just the fool who worked 60-hour weeks while you spent our money on hotels and gifts for your girlfriend. The deeper betrayal. But Marcus wasn't done destroying her. She saw something shift in his face. A calculation, a decision made. He straightened up, dropping the desperate husband act like a costume he was tired of wearing. If you're going to leave, you should know the truth, he said, his tone shifting to something cold, clinical, empty of the warmth she'd built a decade of her life around. I'm not just having an affair, Sophia. I'm in love with her. I have been for months. The words struck like physical blows, each one a knife finding soft tissue. We're moving to California. Together. I've already accepted a job offer in Los Angeles. Regional marketing director. $50,000 more a year than I'm making here. I was going to tell you this weekend. Had it all planned out. Sophia gripped the counter to stay upright. Her nurses training the only thing keeping her from collapsing. Assess. Stabilize. Treat. But there was no treatment for this. The kids. We'll visit on holidays. I'll pay child support, of course. I'm not a monster. He said it like it was generous, like abandoning his children was acceptable as long as he sent money. But I need to be happy, sophomore. I've been miserable for years. Miserable? The word came out as a whisper. You were miserable? With me? With our family? Marcus picked up his phone, checking it even now, even in this moment of complete destruction. The cracked screen glowed with a new message. Probably from Vanessa, probably wondering where he was, probably unaware that she was destroying a family. You're a good mother, he said, like it was a consolation prize. But you're not exciting anymore. You're tired all the time. We never do anything spontaneous. You go to bed at 9 p.m. You wear scrubs more than real clothes. Vanessa makes me feel alive again. She's fun, adventurous. She actually wants to have sex more than once a month. There it was, the final nail in the coffin of their marriage. She was boring, tired, unattractive, undesirable. All the fears she'd pushed down during long shifts and exhausted nights. All the insecurities she'd ignored while building a life, confirmed by the man who'd promised to love her in sickness and health. Sophia felt something inside her chest crack open. Not just her heart, but something deeper, something dangerous. The part of her that had learned to survive in emergency rooms, to make life and death decisions in seconds, to cut away dead tissue to save the living parts. Marcus was dead tissue, and she was about to cut him out of her life completely. The discovery, after Marcus left for work, probably to see her, probably to tell Vanessa how mean his wife was being, probably to play the victim in their twisted love story. Sophia stood in the kitchen, numb. The pancakes were charcoal. The bacon was cold grease in a pan. The orange juice was warming in its pitcher. Their anniversary photo on the fridge mocked her with frozen smiles from a happier time that had apparently been a lie. She should cry. She should scream. She should call her sister Emma, her best friend Rachel, her mother, someone who would hold her while she fell apart. Instead, she opened his laptop. If he'd been careless enough to leave his phone unlocked, maybe there was more. Maybe she needed to see the full scope of his betrayal before she decided her next move. Knowledge was power, and right now Sophia felt powerless. The laptop opened to his email. He never logged out, too confident in his deception, too certain she'd never look. What she found made the affair look like a minor inconvenience. Marcus had been stealing from her. Their joint savings account, the one they'd built together for the kids' college fund, for emergencies for their future, was nearly empty. Over $87,000 gone. Transferred in small amounts over the past year to an account under his name only, labeled investment portfolio. Her hands shook as she clicked through bank statements. He'd been planning this for a long time. Not just the affair, the escape, the abandonment. Each transfer was carefully timed. $2,000 here, $5,000 there. Amounts small enough not to trigger alerts, large enough to drain their future. Money she'd earned through years of grueling 12-hour shifts, blood and sweat and sacrifice. Christmas bonuses she'd saved instead of spending. Overtime pay while he was home, watching the kids, and apparently messaging his mistress. But there was more. An email thread with a real estate agent in Los Angeles. Marcus had already put a deposit on a beachfront condo. 2-bedroom, ocean view, $4,500 a month. For him and Vanessa, using their money. The money Sophia had earned cleaning bedpans and holding dying patients' hands and missing her own children's bedtimes. The email signature said, "Luxury Coastal Living." It had photos. The place was beautiful, modern, sleek. Everything their family home wasn't. A fresh start purchased with stolen dreams. Another email, this one from his lawyer. A man named Robert Chin, apparently specializing in complex divorce situations. The email was dated 3 weeks ago. Marcus, per our discussion, I've drafted the preliminary divorce papers. Given your wife's work schedule and likely emotional state when served, I'd recommend waiting until you're settled in California before filing. This gives you time to secure assets and establish residency, which will work in your favor for custody arrangements. California is more lenient on mobility clauses. Aim for minimal custody, holidays and summer, and standard child support calculations. Given her income as a nurse versus your marketing executive salary, you may actually qualify for some spousal support from her, though I'd recommend waiving it for optics. We want you to appear reasonable, not vindictive. Spousal support from her, after he'd stolen $87,000 and was planning to abandon his family. The lawyer had actually strategized how to take more from her. The transformation. Sophia closed the laptop carefully, methodically, like she was handling a patient in critical condition. She walked to the bathroom, looked at herself in the mirror. 32 years old. Dark circles under her eyes from exhaustion and years of night shifts that had aged her prematurely. Hair pulled back in a messy bun. Strands falling out because she hadn't had time for a haircut in 4 months. Still wearing her old nursing scrubs with coffee stains because she hadn't had energy to change after getting home at 7 a.m. Sleeping 3 hours and waking to make her family breakfast. This was the woman Marcus found boring. The woman he discarded for someone younger, more exciting, more convenient. Someone who didn't have stretch marks from carrying his children. Someone who didn't have permanent shadows under her eyes from keeping their family afloat while he planned his escape. But as Sophia stared at her reflection, something shifted in her eyes. The grief crystallized into something else. Something cold and sharp and absolutely focused. The same look she got in the ER when a patient was coding, when split-second decisions meant life or death, when emotion had to be set aside for survival. Marcus wanted a divorce? She'd give him one. But not on his terms. Not even close. She picked up her phone and made 3 calls. First, to Jennifer Park, an old friend from college who'd gone to law school while Sophia was in nursing school, who'd risen to partner at the city's most aggressive family law firm, who'd once told Sophia over wine that she specialized in destroying cheating husbands.
Yen?
To Sophia, I need your help. Marcus has been having an affair, and I just found out he's been embezzling from our joint accounts. How soon can we meet? Jennifer's response was immediate. I'm clearing my schedule. Come in now. Second, to her bank. She reported the suspicious withdrawals, provided documentation of the transfers to the account solely in Marcus's name, and froze all joint accounts. The representative was sympathetic. Apparently this happened more than Sophia realized. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Carter. We'll launch an investigation immediately. In cases like this, if fraud is proven, the funds can be recovered and charges can be filed. Third, to Ray Chun, a private investigator Jennifer had recommended during that wine-soaked conversation Sophia had thought was theoretical. Mr. Chun? My attorney Jennifer Park gave me your number. I need surveillance on my husband. I need to know everywhere he goes, everyone he sees, and I need photographic evidence of everything. Money is no object. Ray's voice was gravelly professional. How long has the affair been going on? 8 months that I know of. There's probably more. There's always more. I'll start today. The plan takes shape. That evening, Marcus came home whistling. Actually whistling like he was the hero of his own romantic comedy. Like he hadn't just destroyed his family that morning. He smelled like expensive perfume. Something floral and young. Definitely not the subtle lavender Sophia wore on the rare occasions she had energy for perfume. He kissed the kids. Ethan, 7, and Lily, 5. Made them laugh with exaggerated voices, played the role of devoted father flawlessly. Ethan showed him a drawing from school. Lily wanted him to watch her practice her dance recital routine. Marcus gave them his full attention, smiling and clapping, being the dad they loved. Sophia watched from the kitchen, her face carefully neutral. She'd spent the afternoon at Jennifer's office, learning about her rights, understanding the legal landscape, preparing for war. She'd learned that in cases of financial infidelity, Jennifer's term for what Marcus had done, courts took it seriously. That stolen money could be recovered with interest. That evidence of affairs could affect custody and division of assets. That men like Marcus, who appeared successful and charming, often underestimated their wives until it was too late. Hey, Marcus said, sliding up behind her at the stove where she was making dinner. He had the audacity to wrap his arms around her waist, to nuzzle her neck like this morning's devastation hadn't happened. Sorry about earlier. I was harsh. Can we talk? Sophia turned, managed a small smile. It felt like her face might crack from the effort. Of course. His relief was palpable. He actually thought she'd roll over, accept his crumbs, be grateful he was staying. For now. He thought she was weak, broken, too tired to fight. He had no idea what he'd awakened. I think we should try counseling, he lied smoothly, his marketing skills on full display. Work on us. The kids deserve that, right? We owe it to them to try. Absolutely, Sophia agreed, her voice warm and reasonable. The kids deserve so much. They had dinner. Marcus told stories from work, probably lies, probably edited versions of his days with Vanessa. He made jokes. He was charming, attentive. The man she'd fallen in love with at 22 when they'd met at a friend's party and talked until sunrise. That man had never existed. This was just the mask Marcus wore when it served him. She'd been married to a performance for 7 years, and she'd never seen the actor underneath. After the kids were asleep, Marcus reached for her in bed. His hands sliding under her shirt, his mouth on her neck, his body pressing against hers with familiar need. Sophia let him kiss her, let him touch her, let him think everything was forgiven. She needed time. Time to build her case, gather evidence, prepare for the nuclear option. Her body responded to his on autopilot, 7 years of muscle memory, of learned responses, of biological reactions that had nothing to do with her heart. When he finally fell asleep, satisfied and oblivious, Sophia slipped out of bed. She went to the bathroom and scrubbed her skin in the shower until it was red and raw, washing away his touch, his scent, his lies. Then she opened his phone again. He still hadn't changed the password. Too confident in his deception. Too stupid to realize she'd gone from victim to hunter. New messages from Vanessa? Did you tell her? When are you leaving? I can't wait to start our real life together. Marcus's reply, sent while Sophia was bathing their daughter. Soon, baby. Just need to handle some logistics. Then it's you and me forever. I promise. Forever. That word again. Marcus threw it around like it was meaningless. But Sophia was about to show him the permanent weight of consequences. The cliffhanger. Sophia screenshotted everything. Every message, every email, every photo. She forwarded them to her lawyer, to the private investigator, to a secure cloud account Marcus couldn't access. She documented dates, times, locations. She saved the bank statements showing the theft. She recorded everything in a spreadsheet with clinical precision. Then she did something that surprised even herself. She replied to Vanessa, not from Marcus's phone, from her own number, which she found in his contacts under home, like she was a location instead of a person, a building instead of a human being.
Vanessa.
This is Sophia, Marcus's wife. We should meet. I think you'll want to hear what I have to say about the man you're planning a future with. Coffee Bean on Main Street. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Come alone. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. 3 dots appeared immediately. Vanessa was typing. Sophia watched them pulse, feeling her heart race with adrenaline. The response came, "How did you get this number?" Sophia typed back, "Marcus isn't the only one with secrets. 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be there whether you show up or not. But trust me, you want to hear this." No response, but the message showed as read. Sophia set down her phone and looked at Marcus sleeping peacefully in their bed. Their marriage bed, where they'd made love thousands of times, where they'd created their children, where she'd believed they were building something real. He looked innocent in sleep, peaceful, like a good man having good dreams. But Sophia knew better now. She knew that monsters didn't always look like monsters. Sometimes they looked like husbands. Sometimes they smiled while they destroyed you. But before she could process that thought, Marcus's phone buzzed with a new notification. Another message. From someone else. Another woman. Missing you. When can we talk?
J.
Sophia's hands started shaking as she opened the message thread. Jessica. Another affair. Running parallel to Vanessa. Different hotel, different days, different elaborate lies. Her vision blurred as she scrolled through more messages, finding another thread. Brittany. From his gym. 3 affairs. 3 women. 3 elaborate deceptions running simultaneously like a complex business operation. Vanessa wasn't the only affair. There were 3 of them. Marcus hadn't just betrayed her. He'd systematized it. Turned infidelity into a logistics problem he'd solved with calendar management and compartmentalization. Sophia stood in the darkness of her bathroom, phone in hand, evidence mounting like bodies in a morgue, and felt a smile curve across her face for the first time that day. It wasn't a happy smile. It wasn't even a sane smile. It was the smile of a woman who just realized her husband had given her enough ammunition to destroy him completely. Marcus hadn't just betrayed her. He'd underestimated her. And that was going to be his biggest and last mistake. The real Sophia Carter, the one who'd survived nursing school, who'd fought to save lives in emergency rooms, who'd built a family from nothing while her husband built a house of cards, was about to remind him exactly who he'd married. And she played for keeps. Because in the ER, Sophia had learned a fundamental truth. Sometimes, to save the patient, you had to cut out the cancer. Marcus was cancer, and she was about to perform surgery. Vanessa agreed to meet. Sophia hadn't expected that. She'd anticipated denials, blocks, maybe even threats from a younger woman who thought she'd won the prize. Instead, Vanessa's reply had been surprisingly straightforward, arriving at 11 p.m. the night before. Coffee Bean on Main Street. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll be there. Professional. Confident. As if she held all the cards in a game she didn't realize had already changed. She had no idea the dealer had switched. Sophia arrived 15 minutes early, wearing a navy sheath dress that actually fit her properly. Something she'd bought 2 years ago for a hospital fundraiser and never worn again because there was never time, never energy, never a reason to be anything other than functional. She'd gone to a salon that morning, had her hair cut and styled in loose waves that made her look younger, more polished. Professional makeup that covered the dark circles and made her eyes look sharp instead of exhausted. She barely recognized herself in the mirror. The old Sophia had died yesterday. This Sophia was someone new, someone dangerous. She ordered a black coffee and sat at a table by the window, watching the door. At exactly 2 p.m., Vanessa walked in. She was stunning in that effortless way some women achieved. Long blonde hair that caught the light, designer handbag that probably cost more than Sophia's monthly take-home pay, heels that added 3 inches to her already model height. 25, maybe 26. Young enough to believe in fairy tales and happy endings. Old enough to know she was sleeping with a married man. She spotted Sophia immediately, hesitated for just a second, probably recognizing her from the family photos Marcus undoubtedly had on his phone, then walked over with her chin up. Brave, at least. Sophia could respect that, even if she couldn't respect anything else about this woman. "You're prettier than your pictures," Vanessa said, sitting down without asking permission. Her voice was smooth, educated, practiced. "He said you'd let yourself go. Said you looked tired and old all the time." The truth unveiled. Sophia didn't flinch, though the words stung like alcohol on an open wound. "He says a lot of things. How much of it have you verified?" Vanessa frowned, caught off guard by the calm response. She'd probably expected tears, screaming, maybe a dramatic scene that would make her feel important. "I didn't come here to be interrogated." "Then why did you come?" Sophia leaned forward, keeping her voice level and clinical. "Guilt? Curiosity? Or did you finally realize that a man who cheats with you will inevitably cheat on you?" "Marcus loves me," Vanessa said, but there was a crack in her certainty, a hairline fracture in her confidence. "He's leaving you. We're starting fresh in California. He showed me the condo, oceanfront, beautiful. Said it's everything he's ever wanted. With the $87,000 he stole from our joint account?" Sophia slid a folder across the table, manila and thick with documentation. "Or with the trust fund he told you he had. The one that doesn't actually exist." Vanessa's perfectly manicured fingers trembled as she opened the folder. Inside were bank statements, highlighted in yellow where transfers had been made. Emails between Marcus and his lawyer about hiding assets. Screenshots of his messages to other women, not just Sophia's discoveries, but more that the private investigator had already found. Rachin had worked fast. "He told me his wife was cold," Vanessa whispered, staring at the documents like they were in a foreign language. "That you didn't love him anymore. That the marriage had been dead for years. That you were just staying together for the kids. And even that was barely working. I worked 60-hour weeks to pay for our house," Sophia said quietly, each word precise and controlled. I gave up my dream of becoming a doctor to raise our children because Marcus said his career had to come first, that we couldn't both be unavailable. I loved him so much I ignored every red flag, every late night, every suspicious excuse. I rearranged my entire life around his needs. Does that sound cold to you? Vanessa looked up, and Sophia saw it, the first crack in the other woman's armor. Doubt, creeping in like water through a failing dam. There are 2 others, Sophia continued, pulling out more printed messages. Each page felt like a weapon. Jessica in Chicago, that business conference last month? That was her. They spent 3 days at the Ritz-Carlton while I covered his lie to my children about why Daddy missed Lily's dance recital. And Brittany from his gym. He's been rotating between the 3 of you for the past year, sometimes seeing 2 of you in the same day. The color drained from Vanessa's face, leaving her makeup stark against pale skin. You're lying. You have to be lying. Am I? Sophia pulled out her phone, opened a video. It showed Marcus entering a hotel with a brunette woman, neither Vanessa nor Sophia. The timestamp was from 3 days ago, Tuesday afternoon, when he'd told Sophia he had a dentist appointment. That's Brittany. The private investigator has hours of footage. Different hotels, different women, different lies. Want to see more? Vanessa pushed the phone away, looking sick. Her hand went to her mouth like she might vomit right there in the coffee shop. The alliance. I didn't know, Vanessa whispered, tears starting to slide down her perfect cheeks, ruining her perfect makeup. I swear, I didn't. I thought he was leaving you for me. He said I was special, that he'd never felt this way about anyone. I believe you, Sophia said, surprising them both. The words came out genuine because she did believe it. Marcus was good at this, good at making each woman feel chosen, unique, irreplaceable. He's exceptional at compartmentalizing, making each woman feel special, seen, chosen. He probably told you things he'd never told anyone else. Made you feel like you understood him in ways his boring wife never could. Vanessa nodded, wiping at her eyes with a napkin. But here's the thing, Vanessa. You're not special to him. None of us are. You're convenient. You're exciting because you're new, because there are no mortgage payments or sick kids or real-life problems between you yet. But eventually you will be the wife. You'll age. You'll get tired. Life will get hard. And the moment you become inconvenient, when you expect faithfulness, when you need support, when you're anything less than the fantasy he's built, he'll do to you exactly what he did to me. Vanessa sat back in her chair, staring at nothing. What do you want from me? Help, Sophia said simply, laying it out like a business proposition. I'm going to destroy him legally, take everything he tried to steal and more. Make sure he never does this to anyone else. But I need evidence from your side too. Messages, gifts he bought you, trips you took. Anything that proves the timeline of the affair and his deception. In return, I won't name you in the divorce proceedings. You walk away clean, no public scandal, no social media exposure. Vanessa stared at her, mascara streaking her cheeks. Why would you protect me? I slept with your husband. Because you're not my enemy, Sophia said, and meant it. The anger she'd expected to feel toward this woman wasn't there. Marcus was the enemy. Marcus was the one who'd made vows. He is. And I've learned that women are stronger when we stop fighting each other and start fighting the men who manipulate us. For a long moment, Vanessa sat in silence, processing. Then she pulled out her phone, hands still shaking. I have videos, she said quietly, from the condo in LA. He recorded us. I didn't know until I found the camera hidden in the bedroom. There are hours of footage. Sophia's expression didn't change, but inside she felt a surge of dark satisfaction. Hidden cameras meant potential criminal charges, invasion of privacy, possibly distribution if he'd shared them. Send them to this email address, she said, writing it down on a napkin. All of them. And Vanessa, thank you. For what? For being smarter than he thought you were. The revelations. After Vanessa left, promising to send everything by end of day, Sophia sat alone with her coffee, processing. Her phone buzzed with a message from Ray Chun, the investigator. Found something you need to see. Can you come to my office today? Ray's office was in a converted warehouse downtown, all exposed brick and industrial windows. He met her at the door, his expression grim. Mrs. Carter, sit down. Sophia sat, her stomach nodding. What did you find? Ray pulled up files on his computer. I did what you asked, surveillance on Marcus, tracking his movements, documenting the affairs. But I also ran a standard background check, which is procedure in these cases. He turned the screen toward her. Your husband's name isn't Marcus Carter. Sophia felt the room tilt. What? His real name is Marcus Holloway. He legally changed it 12 years ago, right around the time he met you. Ray clicked through documents, court filings, name change paperwork, sealed records. Marcus Holloway was arrested 15 years ago for fraud and identity theft. He ran a scheme selling fake investments to elderly people, stole over $300,000 before he was caught. Served 3 years in Rikers. Sophia couldn't breathe. That's impossible. I would have known. The background check for his job. He works for his friend's company, Ray interrupted. No formal background check was ever done. And the name change was legal, so his record is under his old name. Unless someone specifically looked for it, they'd never find it. Why are you telling me this? Ray's expression darkened further. Because there's more. Marcus Holloway was married when he went to prison. To a woman named Claire Holloway. She disappeared 3 weeks before he was released. Sophia's hands gripped the arms of her chair. Disappeared. Officially listed as a missing person. Police suspected foul play but never found a body. The case went cold after 6 months. Ray pulled up a photo, a woman with sad eyes and a bruised smile. Claire Holloway, age 28 at the time of disappearance. Withdrew her entire savings account 2 days before she vanished. $43,000. Police thought Marcus had an accomplice who helped him access it from prison. But they could never prove it. You think he killed her? I think Claire was smart enough to run, Ray said carefully. But Marcus never divorced her. Which means, my marriage isn't legal, Sophia finished. 7 years of her life, 2 children, a house, a family, all built on a foundation of lies. I was continue 01:42, never his wife.
Legally, no.
Which changes everything about the divorce proceedings. Ray leaned forward. But it also means if Claire is alive, if we can find her, she might be able to help us. She knows what Marcus is capable of. Sophia stood up, pacing. Her mind was racing, cataloging possibilities like she was triaging patients in the ER. Can you find her? I've already started looking. Ray pulled up another screen. 3 years ago, a woman matching Claire's description opened a bank account in Portland, Oregon. Used her mother's maiden name, Morrison. I have an address. How soon can we go? I can have us on a flight tomorrow morning. The confrontation part 2. But Marcus came home that evening before Sophia could process everything. She was in the kitchen, mechanically preparing dinner, her mind thousands of miles away in Portland with a woman who might not even exist. Hey beautiful, Marcus said, sliding up behind her. He'd brought flowers, roses, her favorite, except they weren't really her favorite. She'd mentioned liking roses once, years ago, and he'd never bothered to learn that she actually preferred peonies. What's for dinner? Sophia turned, forcing a smile. The performance was getting easier. Maybe she'd learned more from Marcus than she thought. Chicken parmesan. Your favorite. He pulled her close, kissed her forehead. I've been thinking about what you said. About counseling. I found a therapist who specializes in couples work. Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She has an opening next week. That's wonderful, Sophia said, knowing he'd never actually booked anything. More lies to buy more time. They had dinner. Marcus told stories about work, probably fabrications about meetings that never happened. He helped Ethan with homework. He read Lily a bedtime story. He was the perfect father, the devoted husband, the man Sophia had thought she married. All of it was theater. After the kids were asleep, Marcus reached for Sophia again. But this time she couldn't do it. Couldn't let him touch her knowing what she knew. Couldn't perform intimacy with a stranger. "I'm exhausted," she said, turning away. "Long shift at the hospital." Marcus sighed, frustrated. "You're always tired, sophomore. When was the last time we actually connected?" The audacity of that statement, when he was sleeping with 3 other women, almost made her laugh. But she bit her tongue, forced herself to stay in character.
I'm sorry.
"Soon, I promise." He rolled over, annoyed but accepting. Within minutes, he was asleep. Sophia lay awake, staring at the ceiling, planning her next moves. Tomorrow she'd fly to Portland. She'd find Claire if Claire existed. She'd gather every piece of evidence until Marcus's house of lies collapsed on top of him. But first, she needed insurance. She slipped out of bed, went to Marcus's office, and photographed every document she could find. Bank statements, tax returns, investment portfolios, business records. She uploaded everything to the secure cloud account, sent copies to her lawyer, built a fortress of evidence that Marcus couldn't touch. Then she found his passport. She took it, hid it in her own bag. If he tried to run to California, to escape to somewhere without extradition, she'd make sure he couldn't get far. Portland. The flight to Portland took 3 hours. Ray Chun met Sophia at the airport, and they drove through rain to the Pearl District, a neighborhood of converted warehouses and artisan coffee shops. Claire Holloway, now Claire Morrison, lived in a modest apartment above a bookstore. Sophia stood outside for 10 minutes, gathering courage. What did you say to a woman who'd faked her own death to escape the man who'd stolen 13 years of Sophia's life? Finally, she knocked. The woman who answered was small, tired-looking, with prematurely gray hair pulled back in a simple bun. She wore reading glasses and a cardigan with holes in the elbows. Maybe 40, but she looked older, like someone who'd lived several difficult lifetimes. She took one look at Sophia and went pale. "Claire?" Sophia asked softly. The woman's hand tightened on the doorframe. Her voice came out hoarse, frightened. "Who are you?" "My name is Sophia Carter, or I thought it was. I was married to Marcus Holloway." Claire's face went from pale to white. "He's dead." "No," Sophia said gently. "He's not. He changed his name to Marcus Carter 15 years ago. We've been together for 9 years, married for 7. I have 2 children with him." For a long moment, Claire just stared. Then she laughed. A bitter, broken sound that spoke of years of pain. Of course he did." She stepped back, gesturing them inside. "You'd better come in." The truth. Claire's apartment was sparse but comfortable. Books everywhere, romance novels, thrillers, self-help titles about trauma and recovery. A tabby cat curled on the windowsill. The smell of Earl Grey tea lingered in the air. They sat across from each other at a small kitchen table, and Claire poured them both tea with shaking hands. "Tell me," she said. "Everything." Sophia did. The affairs plural, the embezzlement, the divorce planning, the discovery of Marcus's real identity. Claire listened without interrupting, her expression growing harder with each revelation, each detail another confirmation of patterns she clearly recognized. When Sophia finished, Claire was quiet for a long time, staring into her teacup like it held answers. "He beat me," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "Not at first. At first he was charming, attentive, perfect. The most romantic man I'd ever met. He'd leave love notes, bring flowers, plan elaborate dates. Everyone told me I was lucky." She took a shaky breath. "Then we got married and gradually the mask slipped. It started with criticism. My cooking wasn't good enough, I dressed wrong. I embarrassed him in public. Then it was isolation, cutting me off from friends, monitoring my phone, controlling the money. By the time the physical abuse started, I was so broken down I thought I deserved it." Sophia felt sick. "I'm so sorry." By the time he went to prison for the fraud charges, I had 3 broken ribs that had healed wrong, a fractured wrist that never set properly, and a restraining order he'd violated twice. The court gave me 1, but Marcus didn't care about court orders. Claire pushed up her sleeves, showing faint scars. These are from cigarette burns. He was creative with his violence. Why didn't you leave? Claire laughed bitterly. I tried. Twice. He found me both times. The second time, he broke my cheekbone and told me the next time I ran, he'd kill my mother and make me watch. Sophia felt tears on her cheeks. Jesus. I wasn't strong enough to leave while he was free, Claire continued. But when they locked him up, when I had 3 years of guaranteed safety, I saw my chance. I emptied our accounts, sold everything I could, and disappeared. Staged it to look like maybe I'd been killed. Left my car by the river, my purse on the bridge. Let everyone think the worst. Why didn't you tell the police the truth? Claire looked at her with eyes that had seen too much. Because Marcus knew people. Bad people. The kind who did the fraud work with him, who laundered money, who made problems disappear. Couldn't risk it. If I testified, if I gave them my real story, they'd find me. So I became a ghost. She paused. Until you showed up at my door. The bigger picture. Help me take him down, Sophia said. Testify. Tell them everything. He can't hurt you anymore. He's facing embezzlement charges, identity fraud, and now bigamy. The police will protect you. Claire shook her head. You don't understand. Marcus isn't just a con artist. The people he worked with before prison, they're still out there. Victor Russo, Anthony Marconi, these aren't names you cross. They're organized crime families. Money laundering, racketeering, worse. If I testify, if I surface after 13 years, they'll know. And they'll come for me. Or, Sophia countered, leaning forward, you stay in hiding forever, never using your real name, never seeing your family, always afraid. Is that the life you want? Claire's hands trembled around her teacup. What life do I have to go back to? My parents think I'm dead. My sister held a memorial service. My friends moved on. Claire Holloway is dead. Claire Morrison is all I have. Then give them the truth, Sophia urged. Let them know you survived. Help me make sure Marcus never does this to anyone else, because he will. Claire, if we don't stop him, there will be another woman. Another victim. Maybe he'll escalate. Maybe next time someone doesn't survive. Claire looked out the window, watching rain streak down the glass. Portland was always raining, Sophia thought. Like the city itself was crying. What do you need? Claire asked finally. Everything. Your testimony about the abuse, the threats, the fraud. Financial records if you have them. Anything that proves Marcus's pattern of behavior. In return, the DA will offer you protection. Witness protection if necessary. And if they can't protect me? If Russo's people find me? Then we make sure Marcus gives them up too, Sophia said. We offer him a deal, testify against the organized crime connections, and maybe he gets a reduced sentence. He'll take it to save himself. Men like Marcus always do. Claire studied her face. You're different than I expected. Stronger. I'm a nurse, Sophia said. I've seen people die. I've held their hands while they took their last breath. I've learned that life is too short to let monsters win. She paused. And I have 2 children who deserve to know their father can't hurt people anymore. The plan. They spent the next 3 hours going through everything. Claire's documents from before her disappearance, bank statements showing Marcus's theft patterns even back then, medical records documenting injuries, police reports from the restraining order violations. Ray Chin took photos of everything, built files, created timelines. This is enough, he said finally. With Sophia's evidence and Claire's testimony, we can bury him. Not just civilly, criminally. Identity fraud, bigamy, domestic violence, embezzlement, possibly conspiracy charges related to the organized crime connections. When do we do this? Claire asked, looking frightened but determined. Tomorrow, Sophia said. We go to the FBI. They'll want to talk to both of us. Then we coordinate with local police to have Marcus arrested. That night, Sophia called her sister Emma to check on the kids. She told Marcus she was at a nursing conference. One more lie to add to the pile, though at least hers was strategic rather than selfish. How are Ethan and Lily? Perfect as always, Emma said. Though Ethan keeps asking when Daddy's coming to see him. Says Marcus promised to take him to the batting cages this weekend. Sophia felt her heart break. Tell him Daddy has some work things to handle, but he'll see them soon. Even now, she protected Marcus from his children's disappointment. Old habits died hard. After she hung up, Sophia sat in her hotel room, staring at her wedding ring. 7 years of lies contained in a circle of gold. She took it off, set it on the nightstand, and felt lighter than she had in days. The FBI. The Portland FBI field office was exactly what Sophia expected. Institutional gray, American flags, official government severity. She and Claire sat across from Special Agent Victoria Martinez, who specialized in organized crime and identity fraud cases. Let me make sure I understand, Agent Martinez said, reviewing their statements. Marcus Holloway, aka Marcus Carter, served time for fraud 15 years ago. While incarcerated, his wife Claire mysteriously disappeared. Now we know she fled to escape domestic violence. Upon release, he changed his name, created a new identity, and essentially committed bigamy by marrying you, Ms. Carter, without divorcing Claire. Correct, Sophia said. And you believe he's currently embezzling from both his employer and your joint accounts, with plans to flee to California with one of his 3 ongoing affairs. Correct. Agent Martinez leaned back. The good news is we can definitely make charges stick. Identity fraud, bigamy, embezzlement, that's federal jurisdiction. The domestic violence against Claire adds weight. The question is whether we can tie him to the Russo organization. He kept records, Claire said quietly. Marcus was paranoid about getting betrayed. He had a safe in our old house with documents, account numbers, names. I don't know if he still has it, but if he does, and we can get a warrant based on your testimony, we might be able to take down some bigger fish, Martinez finished. Which means witness protection for both of you until the trial. I have children, Sophia protested. I can't just disappear. Then we move fast. Arrest Marcus today. Secure the evidence. Move forward with prosecution before anyone knows to warn the organization. Martinez stood up. Give me 2 hours to get the warrants. Then we move. The arrest. 2 hours later, Sophia was on a plane back home. Ray Chun had stayed in Portland to coordinate with Claire's protection detail. Sophia had a text from Agent Martinez. Arrest warrant issued. Team is en route to your residence. Stay with your sister. Do not go home until we clear the scene. But Sophia couldn't stay away. She needed to see this. Needed to watch Marcus face consequences for the first time in his manipulative life. She parked down the street from their house, the house she'd worked so hard to afford, the house Marcus had planned to abandon. She watched as 3 black SUVs pulled up. FBI agents in tactical gear emerged, surrounding the property. Marcus came out in handcuffs, confused and angry, shouting about lawyers and mistakes. He was wearing the suit she'd ironed for him that morning, back when she was still pretending everything was normal. Then he saw her car, saw her watching from down the street. Their eyes met across the distance, and Sophia saw the moment he understood. The moment he realized she'd done this, that his boring, tired, convenient wife had orchestrated his destruction. She didn't smile, didn't gloat, just watched as they put him in the SUV and drove away. Her phone rang. Jennifer Park, her lawyer. Sophia, I just heard. The FBI contacted me. Are you okay? I'm fine, Sophia said, and realized it was true. I'm better than fine. I'm free. The civil case just got a lot easier. With criminal charges pending, we can move for emergency asset protection, full custody, everything. Marcus won't have leverage to negotiate. Good. Do it. After they hung up, Sophia sat in her car for a long time, processing. 7 years of lies, 2 children, a life built on sand. But also, survival, strength, the knowledge that she'd fought back and won. Finally, she drove to Emma's house to see her kids. The cliffhanger. 3 days later, after giving her FBI statement, after meeting with lawyers, after beginning the impossible process of explaining to her children why Daddy wouldn't be coming home, Sophia received a letter. Prison postmark. She almost threw it away unopened. Almost. Curiosity or maybe the need for closure made her open it. Inside was a single page. Marcus's handwriting she recognized from years of love notes and shopping lists and mundane married life. Sophia, you think you've won. You think you've destroyed me. But you've made a critical mistake. Claire's mother? Check her bank accounts. Check who's been sending her money monthly for 13 years. Check who really helped Claire disappear. I didn't kill my first wife, Sophia. I protected her. And she protected me. All of this, the abuse narrative, the victim story, it's what we agreed on. Insurance. A way out if I ever got caught. You're not as smart as you think. Neither of you are. Some truths are better left buried. Ask Claire who made the first withdrawal from our account 2 days before she disappeared. Ask her where she really got the $43,000 to start over. You might not like the answers, but it's too late now. You've started something you can't control. And the people I worked with, the Russo family, they don't forget. They don't forgive. You think testifying against me protects you? Paints a target. On you. On our children. On everyone you love. Sleep well, Sophia. You're going to need it. M. Sophia's hands shook so hard she dropped the letter. She grabbed her phone, called Claire immediately. Claire, I need you to tell me the truth. Did Marcus's money help you disappear? Silence on the line. Long, terrible silence. Claire. It's complicated, Claire whispered. Did he help you? He didn't stop me, Claire said finally. When I took the money, when I planned to run, he knew. And he didn't stop me. He said we could both use it someday. If things went bad. If we needed an exit strategy. Sophia felt the world tilting. You've been in contact with him? Not directly. Through intermediaries. I swear, Sophia, I didn't know about you. I didn't know he'd remarried. I thought he'd just moved on. Intermediaries. Who? I can't. Who? Claire. My mother, Claire whispered. She's been the go-between, making sure we both had insurance. Making sure neither of us could completely destroy the other. Sophia ended the call and sat in silence, processing the implications. If Claire's mother was involved, if this was a long-term arrangement, then Marcus's testimony might not be as valuable as they thought. If Claire's story was partially constructed, if the abuse was real but the escape was collaborative, everything was more complicated. And Marcus was right about one thing. She'd started something she couldn't control. She called Agent Martinez immediately. We have a problem, Sophia said. The unraveling. Agent Victoria Martinez sat across from Sophia in a secure FBI interview room, her expression grave. Between them lay Marcus's letter, photographed and logged as evidence. Each word a grenade threatening to explode their entire case.